both transparency and then data security and privacy. So I'm just going to talk kind of broadly about both of them. So from a transparency perspective, again, these are, I can't just reiterate enough, high impact activities. So we want to make sure that when people go to apply to a grant, there's some type of what I call proof of process in place, which is going to be some type of public statement that says, look, if you apply to a grant from our organization, this is the experience that you're going to receive. Here's the type of dates and deadlines that we have. Here's an outline of the submission process. Once we begin a review and selection, it's okay to say you're going to get reviewed randomly by X number of people. Here's the score sheets that we're going to be used. If you get selected, here's what we expect from you. So the reason why this is happening, and again, this is awful to even talk about, but we've heard from grantees or grant makers that they'll have grantees call them up and say, "Hey, I didn't get funded, but I know another company that did, and I totally think that this is bogus. You selected them because of XYZ reason. You selected them because you knew you're a board member of their organization, right?" So the idea behind having a proof of process and transparency is we can actually pull it up and say, look, here's the proof of process, and then here's the actual proof in reviewer that we followed that process. Number two, and this is where I think it's more relevant, is more so for self-development. Again, there isn't infinite money to go around. If you are a grant-making organization that has 100 applicants and you fund five, how do you provide value to all 100? Those five people that got funded probably are on their way to success regardless. How do we give success to those other 95? So the general thought here, and this is very polarizing, is we can actually share back to the non-selected individuals how they were reviewed. And that's kind of what I wanted to show you is basically going back to Michael, he can come back into his profile, and then you can jump up to the evaluation section. And what you show them will be custom to you. We have some clients that are very transparent and they say, look, here's how each individual judge blinded, we redact the information, scored you. Others will say, um, here's the results. You can click into it. Let's open one up. And here's the score sheet that was filled out on your behalf. So again, they might be super transparent and show them on a per question, per judge basis, scores, comments, etc. Others will not show all of the results. They instead just show one overarching comment box. This is up to you. But the general idea is that non-selected individuals get notified, they come back into reviewer, and they have some type of raw, tangible takeaway. So that way they can go to somebody else or reapply next year with a higher chance of success. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about, is impacting people. So if we can give them constructive feedback that empowers them to have success in the future, that in itself is a total win. I talked earlier on about how as much as I want to make your lives easier, streamline operations, I also care equally amount about providing a great experience for the applicants. With all that said, the very last thing that I'll just kind of pull up to have in the background is data security and privacy. With these types of programs, we're collecting likely very sensitive private information. We've heard that not publicly talking about the type of security controls that are in place is actually a deterrent from applicants. People won't apply because they're concerned about where their data is going to go. So with that said, there are a lot of compliance and data security laws and different things that are happening. That's not your background. Maybe it is for some of you. You are a person trying to provide as much impact as humanly possible. You don't have the time or energy to be following GDPR law, California data privacy protection laws, etc. If you're a grant maker for individuals or for the youth, now you've got child privacy law coming into play. So don't worry about it. Leave that to the experts. Let us stay at the forefront of what's happening and let us evolve for you. I also want to talk about kind of, as you're vetting different types of tools or vendors, whether or not that's us or somebody else, the key thing that you're looking for is what I would consider is like SOC 2 Type 2 certification. It really is like the industry gold standard for data security and privacy. You might have your own kind of vetting processes, but that's kind of, also don't just ask people if they are SOC 2, get their report right. Let's prove it. Because the reason why I bring that up is you might have multiple platforms that you're using. I'm not going to use industry or different company names, but you might have a general submission form. You might have some type of general database, some type of general XYZ. You might be using email, and each one of them in their own right might be really great tools, right? They might be highly secure, data privacy, security, compliant, but used in conjunction with one another, it may not be. So for example, you might use, let's just pretend that you use Reviewer, right? The gold standard for security, and you're collecting things like social security numbers. Great, we knock it out of the park. But if you're exporting that data and then shipping it off into a spreadsheet to your review team, that all goes out the window. So I just want to kind of point out that we are passionate about everything we do here, but you also need to make sure that you have kind of the infrastructure in place. So